and welcome to another marvelous video. Fans have been dying to see the reboot version of Daredevil in She-Hulk ever since the trailers dropped. In the comic books, Daredevil has had some strange interactions with his foes. A villain has stolen his identity and has become a new version of the man without fear several times. Typically, this is done to tarnish Daredevil's noble reputation. For example, Bullseye once committed several murders in a Daredevil outfit to instill terror of the hero among people. However, villains might have quite diverse reasons at times. Consider the Daredevil of 2099, who is not a descendant of Matt Murdock but is his adversary, Wilson Fisk, or the Kingpin. While it looks like this new superhero is looking for forgiveness, it turns out that he has some unusual motivations for donning the red costume, which are not all altruistic. Who is Daredevil 2099? Let's find out. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Daredevil 2099 Origin. As previously stated, Samuel Fisk, the Daredevil of the future, is Kingpin's grandson. Mutants have been primarily eradicated in Samuel's time, which is different from the 2099 future timeline, from which heroes such as Spider-Man 2099 and Ghost Rider 2099 hail, thanks to a remedy that eradicates the mutant gene and the Sentinel robots that function as modern-day law enforcement officers. The past of Earth 2992 begins to diverge when the US government passes the Mutant Registration Act somewhere in the late 20th or early 21st century. This occurs as specialized techniques of eliminating mutant talents are discovered. The X-Men begin to rebel and are quickly joined by many heroes and other superhumans in their struggle against the government. The main combat is fought in front of the Baxter Building. By the end of the war, the remaining superhumans are either prisoners or in hiding. So let's get back to the narrative at hand. Samuel is inspired by the tales his father told him about his grandfather's old foe, the vigilante Daredevil, who the Kingpin claimed to not only defeat but to have killed in their final battle during the war mentioned before. As muggings and street killings were still an issue, despite the sharp decline in crime, and embarrassed and disgusted by his family's blood-stained legacy, Samuel decides to revive the legend of Daredevil by becoming the new man without fear. His story is described in the comic book Daredevil 2099, released in 2004. It all starts with Samuel, who was repulsed by both the story of how his crime lord grandfather murdered the hero and the vanity with which his father recounted it. Samuel grew up and finally took leadership of all Fisk family holdings, including a massive criminal empire and some legal and economic ventures. However, Samuel was still guilty of the source of his power. Soon, Samuel decided to make up for his family's wrongdoings by assuming Daredevil's identity and fighting crime on his own. Lacking true talent and never one to reject the easy way out, Samuel invested a sizable chunk of his family's wealth in a cutting-edge fighting suit that more than makes up for his lack of experience and ability. However, this caused conflict between Samuel and his wife Elaine. Elaine believed that Samuel's risky pastime was taking away from his time with their 9-year-old son Sebastian, and that the criminal organization that Fisk oversaw would murder him and make her a widow if his actions were found. Samuel tries to explain to his wife that he can't help it. Too much pain and guilt haunt him, and this is the only way he can get a good night's sleep. Elaine finally gave up and left. Fisk was confident that his wife would return since he believed she only loved him for his wealth. New York City was much more orderly in the present narrative based in 2099, and sentinels on patrol were usually good at keeping the peace. Samuel used one of his many quiet patrol nights to find his wife, whom he discovered inside a hotel in another man's arms. Instead of confronting the couple, Samuel vented his anger on a patrolling sentinel. Samuel discloses something even more repulsive about himself by acknowledging that he still has the infamous Fisk rage, and that despite his sincere desire to perform acts of bravery, his day job still includes being the next kingpin of the Fisk criminal organization. Later, Samuel went to one of the bars with no names in the underworld and told the bartender about the relationship, even though his hand was nearly broken from repeatedly punching the metal sentinel. Fisk got enraged and said they would address the matter like civilized people when the bartender proposed that he simply kill his wife. Samuel's answer was to abduct, bind, and bring Elaine's boyfriend to Fisk Tower, where Samuel put a pistol to the man's temple and fired. And that's how the 24-page comic issue concludes, with Daredevil becoming a Kingpin. This is confirmed by the fact when one of his henchmen calls him Mr. Fisk. He tells him it's just Kingpin, no Mr., before he pulls the trigger. As a result, Sam Fisk continued to attempt to honor both the Kingpin's and the Daredevil's legacies. Personality and powers of Daredevil 2099. Unlike both of his role models, Samuel Fisk is not a physical, mental, and spiritual giant with extraordinary abilities and resolve. In truth, he appears to be an average man who isn't actually interested or skilled in his work as a business bigwig and criminal overlord. During essential company meetings, he appears bored and restless. His IQ is above average but not remarkable. His guilt issues make him a bit of a failure and an ordinary schmo regarding his marriage. He was arguing with his wife and watching the situation worsen. However, he was imprisoned in his difficulties and lacked the ability or drive to adequately communicate and find a logical solution. He would simply go out and play the part of Daredevil to make up for everything, have fun, and feel strong physically. However, Samuel Fisk does possess a dramatic quality known as the Fisk temper. Like his forebears, he can suddenly transform into a stone-cold murderer, killing without compassion and periodically erupting into icy lethal rages out of frustration. His personality traits are similar to a certain Michael Corleone from The Godfather. Samuel Fisk doesn't appear to have any unique abilities. Nevertheless, he is extremely wealthy and powerful, particularly in New York City, the Fisk family's historical bastion. Daredevil 2099 is a fantastic acrobat despite his lack of training and is on the top of human abilities. Samuel developed acrobatic skills while protecting his community, in addition to the use of his superior armor. Samuel spent some of his wealth and power to purchase a one-of-a-kind, cutting-edge, incredibly costly suit of power armor. Despite not being incredibly nimble, the user may do amazing athletic and acrobatic feats while wearing the suit. Simply by moving, he may cause the suit to perform a motion with superhuman strength and precision. Gunfire and plasma weapon fire can't penetrate the armor plating. The primary thrusters of the Daredevil 2099 suit are located along the forearms and calves, and they may rocket assist suit motions. He can do enormous rocket-powered jumps, hurl rocket-assisted punches, and sprint at great speed with the thrusters perfectly augmenting his moves or just delivering a rapid acceleration. White smoke from the rocket exhaust and, in most situations, disturbing dust are left behind due to such operations. Other yet-to-be-exposed features of the suit might include night vision and, of course, a radar. However, they were not shown in the issue. But how can one be a daredevil without these since he's not blind, right? The thighs of the outfit include pockets where 2 pistols are kept. The weapons are controlled by highly sophisticated targeting computers. As a result, when donning the costume, Samuel rarely misses. But the ammunition of the guns are non-lethal. Samuel used bullets with solid sedatives that disintegrate when they enter the bloodstream. Painful yet not lethal is how they are described. He also persists in using a billy club duplicate of Daredevil's. However, the suit is powerless to assist with the precision of this thrown weapon. Thus, Fisk must rely on his own subpar talent with it. Samuel travels in an altered vehicle. It features many computers, communication devices, and a police band scanner. Also, there are robot arms on the back of the automobile. He may quickly wrap the Daredevil 2099 suit around himself by pressing a button that will recline the driver's suit and cause the robot arms to gently draw him toward the back of the vehicle. If he enters through the trunk, the arms could probably remove the costume and put him back in the driver's seat. Marvelous verdict. While Samuel Fisk looks like a strange blend of crime lord and vigilante hero, Daredevil 2099 shows that he's basically a sad man masquerading as a gangster and a superhero. Unlike Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock, Samuel is uninterested in any of his roles. He's uninterested in the day-to-day operations of his illicit organization, but he's too reliant on its profits to abandon it. At the same time, he concedes that the Sentinel program renders his heroic alter identity obsolete and that Daredevil is mostly an excuse for him to delude himself into believing that the lives he saves are to compensate for all the lives he damages as the Kingpin of the year 2099. Overall, he is a fascinating character, and I believe his character arc should be explored more by Marvel in the future. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.